All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, today we're going to be reacting to Ted Cruz on The View, defending his support of Trump. It says Biden is the president today. All right. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we watch this. Now, let's get into it.
Back with Senator Ted Cruz. Yes, he came, he stayed. Anna, you have the question.
And listen, I've been very vocal and very critical of you, but I'm sorry that this has happened
All good.
in our house. You and I have been in politics a long time. I remember meeting you when you were first running in Miami. You were a Bush Republican back then, so was I. And we've seen candidates that have said a lot of things about each other. But Donald Trump went incredibly personal when it came to you.
Of course she's going to bring this up.
Suggested your father may have been involved in Kennedy's assassination. And he called your wife, Heidi, ugly.
Who, by the way, is very pretty.
This is what you said. Let me get through the question. This is what you said about him back in 2016 during the campaign. Let's take a look.
I'm going to tell you what I really think of Donald Trump. This man is a pathological liar. He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth.
Now, a lot of people back in 2016 who didn't like Donald Trump and said similar things like this, saying this same tune, ended up coming around and supporting him at the end of the day, right? But after somebody says something about your wife, of course you're gonna be offended. Of course you're gonna react emotionally 9 out of 10 times. You know what I mean? But after Trump beat him and he became the president, it's like, you gotta get to work. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do, put aside the differences. I'm sure Ted Cruz says some things about Trump as well. He doing it right here. I mean, it's in response to what Trump said first, but
The man is utterly amoral. Morality does not exist for him.
Yeah, clap it up, clap it up.
So I have to ask you, because, I'm married to a Cuban man. I frankly don't know how you get over your wife being called ugly. I don't know how you get over those kind of calumnies against your father. But you obviously have gotten over it. Today you sing a very different tune. So
you don't have a choice but to get over it. That's a part of being mature, Anna Navarro. Like, she can't believe it, she can't, but you have to get over it. What is he supposed to do? Hold a grudge and be mad at somebody? Go with emotion and his feelings first over what's important?
So tell us, were you lying then or are you lying now?
Yeah, that's a loaded question there. Look,
I think a lot of people have the same question. It's a very different Ted Cruz that we're seeing. We are. I mean, would you not agree that that's very different Ted Cruz than today's Ted Cruz?
What I would say is this. In 2016, we had a primary where Donald Trump and I beat the living crap out of each other. I'll tell you, Heidi laughed when he said that. My father laughed. By the way, my dad didn't just kill Kennedy. He's got Jimmy Hoffa buried in the backyard. It was idiotic. And we went after each other, and at the end of the day, he won. And I had a decision to make in November of 2016. He'd been elected president. I got a responsibility to represent 30 million Texans.
That's right.
I could have decided my feelings are hurt. I'm going to take the ball and go home and not do my job. But if I was prepared to do that, I better be prepared to resign from my job because I have a responsibility. So what I did is I went and said, listen, we have an opportunity to make a difference for this country, and I want to roll up my sleeves and lead the fight to actually deliver on promises. We were talking a minute ago about the incredible booming economy. We saw 7 million people get off of food stamps. We saw poverty dropping. We saw African-American poverty dropping. We saw Hispanic poverty dropping. Those are real results that make...
I know they don't like hearing that. I know they're just burning inside hearing that good things happen while Donald Trump was president.
A real difference, and I'm proud of that record. And why did I choose to work with him, even though I was pissed off at what he said? Because I had a job to do and I had a responsibility.
And well, I would say your responsibility was to the Constitution and democracy, not to Donald Trump, but it seems to me we disagree.
I agree, and let me be very clear. I think that the Democrats had been undermining the Constitution and undermining democracy, and that the book that is coming out tomorrow is on exactly that topic, how the...
Oh, yeah, he has a book coming out. Or I think it already came out. Yeah, it already came out. Let's see. What is it called? Does it have it here? No, it doesn't. Oh, it's an author of Justice Corrupted. His view on Donald Trump, and he asks if he believes that President Joe Biden is legitimate. Okay, yeah, so his book is out, guys.
The Department of Justice and the FBI have been turned into partisan weapons to attack the political opponents of the Biden
Well,
administration.
Senator,
but your guy that you're supporting gave no respect to the Justice Department, gave no respect to how it's supposed to work. He doesn't recognize a subpoena. We got to fight to get people to come and do something. Well, you're talking about we corrupted it. You guys don't pay any attention to it.
Well,
That's a great talking point.
I don't do talking points. Okay. This is just how I feel.
But it happens not to be true.
Oh, honey.
So if you look at, you guys at the beginning of the show had this long discussion.
Yep, it's just how I feel. Notice she said, it's just how I feel. Facts don't care about feelings. I don't know how many times we got to say this. Facts don't care about feelings. I think it's a little bit careless to let these women with influence go on TV and peddle things that are just based on how they feel about stuff. I mean, she just said the quiet part out loud. That's just how I feel. It don't matter what the truth is or anything. It's just about how they feel at the end of the day. They just up there to say how they feel, regardless of, of facts, evidence, anything.
About, is Donald Trump going to testify under oath? Of course he's not. Nobody thinks he is. And by the way, did Barack Obama testify under oath? No.
He never defied a congressional subpoena.
But you know who did? You know who did? Eric Holder, the Attorney General of the United States, was held in contempt and tried to cover up the malfeasance of the Department of Justice. He refused to show up for the subpoena. He was held in contempt of Congress.
Weaponized the Department of Justice.
Give me one example.
Bill Barr. Real quick.
Okay, you said a name.
Let me get a chance to get it.
Okay, weaponize. Give me the.
Yeah, she's been really quiet, Sonny, and normally she has a lot to say when there's nobody like a Ted Cruz on the panel.
The target that was persecuted, because I can tell you who the Democrats, Merrick Garland, directed the FBI to go after moms and dads who go to school boards and to treat them as domestic terrorists using the Patriot Act. That is fundamentally wrong, and it is.
You write about that in your book.
But
yes,
let me get a chance to get in, Senator. But thank you for being here. Back in 2016, when it was you and Donald Trump were the last candidates in the Republican nomination, I remember working with my bosses on Capitol Hill, members of the Freedom Caucus, begging them to endorse you because I thought you were the true conservative who could defeat that man.
Thank you.
He won. I ended up going on to work for him. I've made my peace with those decisions. But January 6th is something I have a really hard time moving beyond from. And I say that as a constitutional conservative, which is what you pride yourself in being. How can you be okay with the undemocratic action of trying to disenfranchise 80 million voters? And do you believe Biden legitimately won the election?
So what I'd say is a couple of things. Number one, in this book, I have an entire chapter on January 6th, that if you want to know the inside story of what happened, listen, I recognize a lot of the folks who may be here or watch this show are not politically on my side of the aisle. That's fine. I'm glad we're having conversations. I'm glad we're actually talking to each other. America, there's so much screaming and yelling and hatred that if this country is going to make it through, we got to actually try to understand each other and hear what the other is saying. So I would encourage you, especially if you don't happen to agree with my view of politics, read the chapter on January 6th on the inside.
Election.
I read it as somebody.
Really good question.
I did. I read the chapter and as someone who agreed with you most of your career. How do you reconcile your constitutional convictions with what happened on January 6th and trying to overturn the election when 60 court cases got knocked down?
And you
just
voted
finally
against certifying the election.
was Biden legitimately elected? Because half the party thinks that he wasn't, and it'd be very powerful for you to tell the truth.
So listen, Biden is the president today. There's a lot of folks in the media that anytime, hold on, I'm answering exactly that question. There are a lot of folks in the media that try to, anytime a Republican is in front of a TV camera, try to say the election was fair and square and legitimate. You know who y'all don't do that to? You don't do it to Hillary Clinton, who stood up and said Trump stole the election.
They didn't try to kill my former
Abrams, who said that the election was stolen. They sat here and said it was illegitimate, and you guys were fine with it. Okay, so it's illegitimate when Republicans win, but not when Democrats.
No, you know, here's the thing. We may not like when Republicans win, but we don't go and we don't storm. We don't try to change, but we'll go to court.
That's cap.
Did I miss an entire year of Antifa riots where cities across this country were burning and police cars were being firebombed?
I guess you did.
I don't know what an Antifa riot is. I don't know what a BLM riot is. They just want to deny things that actually happen, things on video that you can go and see. It's ridiculous, man.
Your position is the left doesn't engage in violence, really?
No, they wanted to noose our friend Mike Pence. Like, how do we make sense of that?
You just accused us of doing something we didn't do. You said Hillary.
Right, and the thing is, she's talking about January 6th. How do you get over it? It's still people in jail from that day. She's acting like no justice was served when those people did that. Somebody died. Somebody got shot. A girl died. Like January 6th to me, in comparison to a summer of burning and rioting and looting, and we all saw it. We saw it on the news. Some people saw it in person, but we saw it.
Clinton didn't say whatever she didn't say. I'm saying to you, listen.
And she said it's sitting here, and you were fine with her saying it was illegitimate for Republicans to win.
She called Donald Trump the next morning, and she conceded the election, Ted.
Okay,
took the
look.
call.
As did Stacey Abrams.
All right.
She sat there while Donald Trump
Hillary
was getting
Clinton
sworn
says
in.
Trump is an illegitimate
Two wrongs
president.
don't
Hillary
make a
Clinton
right.
says the election is stolen from you. Hillary Clinton in 2002, George W. Bush was selected, not elected. Joe Biden, Al Gore was
He came with a whole list of quotes.
elected president. So Joe Biden
You
claims
just said
George
we
W.
don't
Bush
scream
was
at each
illegitimate.
other, right? Or is it just you that gets to scream?
Okay, no, I agree.
Okay, then lower your voice because we are very close to each other. And I know you come here to sell a book and try to pick a fight, but we're not going to do that today.
But Anna, then address the. Okay, you look at.
Bro, I don't like Anna Navarro's attitude, man. I just don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Okay, then lower your voice because we are very close
Like, lower your voice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she is mom or something, trying to put him in check.
to each other. And I know you come here to sell a book and try to pick a fight, but we're not going to do that today.
But Anna, then address the. Okay, you look at this January 6th committee, which I think is a kangaroo
1
circus.
minute, and then I gotta go.
The chairman of the January 6th committee objected to a prior presidential election. Representative Raskin, the lead prosecutor for the impeachment, objected to a prior presidential election.
Have you ever heard
and
a room
the
full
absolute
of
hypocrisy.
Democrats say this president, we don't like him, but we're not going to do our job. They did their job.
As the book described,
we have to go.
The Department of Justice went after Trump.
Thanks for Senator Cruz. His new book is Justice Corrupted, and members of the audience, you're getting a copy. I'm sorry.
Justice Corrupted. I think I'm going to go and get a copy of that. I might go down to Barnes & Noble today and see if they have that there. Yeah, it's like right up the road, so I think I'm gonna make that drive. Let me know what you thought about that in the comments below. This was interesting. I'm glad they got somebody like Ted Cruz on The View. I think he's been on there before, if I'm not mistaken, and other conservatives. But I do, like he said, I like that they're even having a conversation. You know, they let him go on there and promote his book. You know what I'm saying? It's more than likely most of the people watching it gonna just disregard it, like, oh, it's Ted Cruz. They probably ain't even watched the episode. They ain't even want to see him. But till next time, you guys, I'm out. But before I leave, don't forget that the month of October is almost over, and I will be giving away a few Insider Plus or All Access memberships to the Daily Wire. I've actually already picked 2 people that I'm giving it to, you know, on the hush hush, and I just got to pick one more. But yeah, so don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, you guys. I'm out of here. Peace.